An essential skill of a successful event manager is the ability to anticipate future needs and opportunities. One popular event management blog suggests that it is vital to implement trends, be an early adopter, and prime your eye to create the trends that will appeal to your target demographics. Ensuring you're always one step ahead will eliminate chance of surprise and encourage clients to trust your expertise. Hello, my name's India, and I've created this Pecha Kucha to explore the current trends associated with the issue of sustainability within the flourishing fashion industry. The following slides will look at two trends from the perspectives of fashion businesses and fashion consumers. It'll look at how the rising awareness of the need for sustainability is initiating a shift in consumer behaviour and business practice. The term sustainability has become increasingly prominent in recent years, some even referring to it as a megatrend. According to Fletcher and Partridge, sustainability can be defined as an activity that can be continued infinitely without causing harm and meeting a generation's need without compromising those of the future generations. Sustainability is further defined by Lang and Water, who states it involves complex and changing environmental dynamics that affect human livelihoods and well-being, with intersecting ecological, economic, and socio-political dimensions both globally and locally. This suggests a direct relationship between the changing environment and consumers. So how does this link to fashion? According to Jung and Jing, in the 1960s, consumers began to become more aware of the impact clothing manufacturing had on the environment and started demanding a change in industry practices, thus creating the concept of sustainable fashion. The fashion industry currently has a value of $406 billion and will continue to grow as long as consumer demand for fashion clothing continues. Theorists have suggested that over the past decade, sustainability and ethical conduct has begun to really matter in fashion. However, there is still a huge way to go before both fashion manufacturing and fashion events can be entirely sustainable. Frightening statistics suggest that, second to oil, the clothing and textile industry is the largest polluter in the world, and that nearly 20% of global wastewater is produced by the fashion industry. When conducting research into sustainability, and particularly in fashion, one trend widely addressed was the change in consumer behaviour towards fast fashion. Fast fashion is a term used to describe clothing collections that are based on the most recent fashion trends. Fast fashion has further been defined as a low-cost clothing collections based on current, high-cost luxury fashion trends. It is by its very nature a fast response system that encourages disposability. In the book The McDonaldization of Society, theorist George Richter refers to fast fashion as McFashion. He justifies this comparison due to the sheer speed in the turnaround process from production to consumer. The term McDonaldization has become increasingly popular over time as it's seen to provide an interpretation of the changes in the capitalist economy as they are moving towards greater rationalisation. Former turnaround time from catwalk event to consumer of 6 months is now compressed to mere weeks by companies such as Zara and H&M, with heightened profits to match. When exploring the reasons for the change in the fast fashion economy in the context of sustainability, it's important to research the consumer's buying behaviour. This enables an understanding of the effect the issue of sustainability has had on fashion consumers. According to theorists, a consumer's buying behaviour is influenced by 4 factors: cultural, social, personal, and psychological. It is suggested that consumer behaviour is a part of the human behaviour, and by studying previous buying behaviour, fashion marketers can estimate how consumers might behave in the future when making purchasing decisions. Research suggests that fashion consumers are steering away from the fast fashion phenomenon, and that this has been acknowledged and acted on by major fashion corporations, an example being H&M. H&M has launched a worldwide clothing conscious initiative which promotes sustainable concept in ethical consumers in retailing. The scheme encourages sustainability amongst consumers whilst also ensuring H&M has an edge on their fellow fast fashion competitors. However, to counter this claim of more sustainable consumer behaviour, further research suggests that although many sustainable initiatives are being put in place across the fast fashion industry, and that people are increasingly caring more about reducing unstable behaviour, it is not reflected in their practice. Kim Kardashian has become an unrivaled icon in the fashion world and in fast fashion specifically. Popular brands such as Fashion Nova have been able to spot Kardashian's latest trends and have exact copies available on their website in a matter of weeks. According to Scott, fast fashion companies are still thriving on fast cycles, rapid prototyping, and small batches to meet the consumer's ever-growing needs. A second significant trend in fashion sustainability is ethical conduct within fashion production and manufacturing. As stated by an improved blogger, on a global scale, ethical manufacturing focuses on the good health, safety, and fair pay for the workforce. These best practices often include a commitment to minimising waste throughout product testing and proper labelling. It is an ongoing issue that over the years has created considerable debate. When discussing the ethics, we often think of sweatshops. However, ethical conduct covers working conditions, pay, and equality. Many companies contract manufacture to low cost countries such as India and China, which are often highlighted as having poor labour practices. Campaigns across Western countries have highlighted these poor labour practices, which has motivated high profile calls for boycotts against organisations including Nike and Gap. According to Shaw and Duff, these boycotts have noticeably affected the global brands, which has consequently led to a reputation as ethical offenders. One huge tragedy illustrating disregard for worker safety and poor employer ethics was the collapse of the Rana Plaza. In April 2013, in the suburb of Dhaka, a building complex which housed several garment factories collapsed, killing over 1,000 garment workers and injuring a further 2,500. This incident is said to be a significant factor in why the practices had to change. Similar to the fast fashion phenomenon, consumer behaviour is kickstarting change. Ethical consumers believe that by making ethical choices, they have the power to encourage and support businesses which avoid exploiting or harming humans. However, it is clear to see that there are many arguments to counteract this theory. This suggests consumers may think highly of the practices of ethical companies, but this may not translate into action. They may not change their behaviour to buy from ethical companies. This is illustrated by the 2019 profits released by Nike, showing an increase of 4% to $10.2 billion. This suggests that although people are conscious of Nike's reputation, they are still buying from them. The two trends explored in this presentation could be described as fledgling trends. They are slow shifts in what were growing trends in consumerism and commercialism. Being aware of the trends is important with wide-reaching themes such as sustainability in major sectors such as fashion and is a fundamental factor when creating a successful event. Thank you for listening to my Pecha Kucha.